If the PM in charge of this feature was a YouTube creator, I don't think they would let this ship burn. That's like a career advice thing. I really love Peter's articles because they're usually a lot of gold nuggets. Hey friends, how's it going? Today we're going to be reacting to an article that I came across by Peter Yang, and it's titled, "Why are Google AI's products so frustrating to use?" If you're new to this channel, my name is Johnny. I'm a staff software engineer at Meta, and I cover a variety of topics, including tech, career, and especially AI these days. Today, I thought I would go and react to this article. I thought it was a really interesting article. At least the title is really interesting. So without further ado, I hope you guys enjoy. If you want me to read any other articles, let me know. So let's get started. Today, I am all Instagrammed out. A quick fun fact is that I actually was on the team that launched Instagram Reels. It's actually one of like the highlight moments. But the funny thing is I kind of joined at the very tail end of that project. So I didn't do actually too much when it came to the launch, but I get to say that I was part of the team. So I still wear it pretty proudly. And then afterwards, I worked on Instagram Reels for quite a bit before I moved on to like AI and other things. But yeah, just a fun fact, given the swag and the mug that I'm drinking out of right now. But yeah, let's get right into this article. Dear subscribers, today I want to share a rant about Google AI's products. It's baffling how confusing Google's AI UX... Oh, really? All right, let's start over. It's baffling how confusing Google's AI UX is despite their state-of-the-art tech. Before I start ranting, I think there are exceptional people at Google, like Logan, who builds with users, but they seem to be exceptions. So let's talk about it. Number one, why is Google Gemini so fragmented? Number two, does the Google Workspace team use their own AI products? Number three, who is YouTube's AI features really built for? Number four, is Google's product culture holding back its AI tech? These are really spicy points and pretty poignant too. Honestly, I've been feeling this way about Google for quite a bit. I remember like 10 years ago when I was trying to get into the industry, Google and Meta were my top picks. And obviously I got into Meta, so I'm really happy about it. But I remember Google always had this like really great image about their work, their culture, their products. But over the past 10 years, something just changed. When I think about Google, I kind of view them closer and closer to what IBM feels like or felt like 10 years ago. They just like give this like kind of image of being very slow, very corporate, a lot of bureaucracy. Of course, like Meta has some of that as well, but I don't know, if you just ask people in the industry, they just probably will give this like same kind of sense of Google being slow and very bureaucratic. They really just don't have that thing. I don't know what that thing is, but 10 years ago and now their image is definitely very tarnished and very different. That's just kind of the feeling that I have. Granted, as I'm reading this, Gemini 2.5 is like the best model right now, but that's just the AI model. It's actually not the product itself. So I think there's definitely some merit to what Peter is saying here. Oop, I'm already subscribed. I'm gonna skip the ad. Why is Google Gemini so fragmented? OpenAI and Anthropic each have a single product offering, ChatGPT or Claude, but Google has created a confusing split. A bare bones Gemini with fewer capabilities than competitors, and an overstuffed AI studio that mixes consumers and developer use cases. Yeah, this is kind of interesting. And honestly, I bet you it really has to do with org structure. Without even looking at their org chart, I bet you there's two big VPs, one on Gemini side and one on AI studio side. They probably like talk to each other, but not really talk to each other. They're probably both kind of competing with each other, and there's probably some central like Gen AI like org for Gemini as well. Usually when I see this, I usually say that you're shipping your org chart rather than a cohesive product, which is an issue, but it's kind of the nature of large organizations. Let's take a look at this. Why did Google decide to bury its best consumer AI feature in this interface? Yeah, it's kind of interesting. Let me give you a specific example. Gemini launched best-in-class image editing a week ago that lets anyone edit specific parts of an image. But to access it, I have to know to use the AI Studio instead of a regular Gemini. Know to select Gemini 1.5 Flash Image Generation Experimental as the model. Know that Google's image model can edit images directly. It's baffling that Google decided to launch this feature in AI Studio instead of regular Gemini. In contrast, OpenAI shipped this new image editing feature to ChatGPT yesterday and has taken the world by storm. And honestly, yeah, this Ghibli trend, it's a pretty mind-blowing moment. I've done a few like LoRa experiments where I took like Ghibli LoRa, downloaded it online, and then used it, and it's pretty good, but it has never been this great. Like, especially with expressions and like kind of like capturing all of the things around it. Granted, the right here, the number is kind of messed up here, but you know, like look at the expressions. Like it's just so heartwarming, and obviously it's nowhere near as great as like a true Ghibli picture, but kind of gets a little bit of it. I feel like that really sparked something in everyone. But going back a little bit to this thing right here, right? This whole user interface. If I were to guess why they did this, I could think of two good reasons. One, as I mentioned, I think they are in two different orgs. Like AI Studio, whatever this is, and Gemini, they're probably in two different orgs. So that's probably one. And then the second thing is image generation is not cheap. You know, in terms of compute, it's pretty expensive. And also from Google's perspective, I think image generation in itself is kind of a risky feature as well, right? Even OpenAI, you know, they're getting a lot of flack from people making Ghibli images and a lot of artists not being happy about it. But large companies like Google, they definitely have to be a lot more careful. And it's also experimental. I'm sure they haven't locked down the privacy and all these kind of things that make like hardens a feature like Gemini 1.5 at the standard of Google, the worldwide scale of Google. So that's probably why they didn't like have it just be easily accessible. They probably were at a point where they want to just test the feature. So they just like bury it. Only basically the power users will find it and then they'll test it and then use it. This is a very common like feature launch process. You kind of want to harden your experience within the app like naturally, but it's kind of buried. And when it's ready in prime time, you let it out into like a tab entry point or like a composer entry point. So that's probably why. Google seems to put everything behind labs and experimental labels because they lack the conviction to release new features to everyone. Why is an amazing consumer image editing feature buried in a UX that also includes API keys? I don't get it. This is probably just cost related, to be honest. I think Google is trying to go like squeeze OpenAI really by like the cost. That's why Gemini 2.5, I believe, is free or in the free tier. But if they wanted to, I'm pretty sure that they would love to charge, right? And image generation, like I said, is not cheap. Like that's a higher compute kind of experience. So does Google Workspace team use their own AI product? I use Google Docs every day, but I almost never feel the need to use this AI feature. This is very true too. The way I use Google Docs for AI features is basically my buffer. I copy and paste some stuff in there before I paste it into ChatGPT or Gemini 2.5 or Claude or any of these other services. Or Perplexity. So it's actually like I use it mainly for my buffer. So let's take a look. Ask, refine, summarize, write. What can Gemini do? It makes me wonder, are the teams who built these features actually dogfooding them in their daily work? For example, PMs live in Google Docs. Writing PRDs and managing stakeholder comments, an obvious feature would be to use AI to summarize all the comments. It's mysteriously absent from the AI options above. Another basic missing feature is the ability to paste examples of my best writings into Google Docs AI. Imagine how powerful it would be if I could share my best PRDs before asking Docs AI to generate a new one with me. Instead, I have to copy everything into Claude or ChatGPT. I'm not alone here. If you're a weekly user of Google Docs, how often do you use these features? Never. When people have to copy paste from Google Docs to other AI products instead of using Docs, native AI features, something is clearly wrong. Okay, so here's my hot take on why this is such a thing. I think Google's culture is not really catered to moving quickly. My understanding of their culture is that if they want to make changes or things like that, they take a really long time like thinking through it, writing proposals, going through architecture design changes, requests for change docs, like all these processes to land features. And they're actually, in my opinion, more careful with their changes. They move slower. I guess that's like high level, they move slower. Going back to like kind of the org structure of all of these things, if you think about it, Gemini and AI Studio is probably under some AI org, right? And there's probably some VPs there. And all of these other features that Google owns, like Google Maps, you know, Workspaces, Docs, Google Drive, like all of these are probably different orgs. There's probably some mandate from top down saying, hey, integrate your features into this and that. But To be honest, I bet you a lot of these VPs or organizations that are really focused on making Google Docs don't really care that much about AI. You know, like they're probably being asked very heavily to just inject a bunch of AI stuff into their products. And like if you take a step back and think about like AI and the usage of AI, I bet you most people who use Google Docs don't care that much about AI in Google Docs. Like that's kind of my hot take. That like tech people, they really care. They want to use the latest and greatest AI stuff. But honestly, I feel like most people, they don't care that much. They don't want a fine-tuned version of their voice in Google Docs. They might probably just want these like little things: summarize, write, help me ask, refine. Like, and that's enough. Like these other like kind of power tools, I don't think they would care that much. Again, all of these are like have to be kind of free for Google, right? It's a free feature. I think there's probably a balancing act there. It's not that they don't care 100% about having AI features in here, but that's just my hot take. So yeah, so that's for workplaces. Who is YouTube's AI features really built for? Summarize this in nested bullet points. I cannot access external websites or specific files online, including the URL you provided. Therefore, I'm unable to summarize the content within that link. Why isn't it possible if both Gemini and YouTube are owned by Google? Again, I think I think it really is like this like org structure thing. It's not that simple, honestly. When you get to a certain size, it's just very difficult. And it's like a priority thing. Like YouTube doesn't really care about AI. Having AI features in YouTube is not really gonna affect their bottom line. In fact, it might be the opposite. Let's close by talking about AI and YouTube. One of my most common AI workflows is pasting in the YouTube transcript into Claude or ChatGPT to extract a concise summary. But since both Gemini and YouTube are owned by Google, I should be able to paste a YouTube link into Gemini directly to get the summary. It's baffling that it doesn't work. This is pretty baffling. Like, granted, NotebookLM, you can actually paste YouTube links and it works. So I don't know. They have the features all built. It's just haven't made it into Gemini yet. Another example is that YouTube thumbnails. If you're a YouTuber, you know that thumbnails are critical. Creators spend hundreds of dollars making them. Google has an inspiration tab in YouTube Studio that uses AI-generated thumbnails, but the results ignore all thumbnail best practices. No person's face, text is barely visible, generic backgrounds blend together. If the PM in charge of this feature was a YouTube creator, I don't think they would let this ship. Ooh, burn. But it's true. I looked at this feature. It's pretty trash. Honestly, this is like, we just need something, throw it together, don't really think about the results, just ship it. No one's going to use it anyway. I think that's probably what ended up happening here. And also, to be fair, there's only a few YouTube editing like power things that I use. I don't really know who the target audience is. It's not amazing. Is Google's product culture holding its AI tech? Last year, I interviewed Riza, the PM behind Google's AI hit success NotebookLM. Oof, I love NotebookLM. It's one of my most used AI tools, especially for deep diving. It's really great. A recap of how Reza and team made NotebookLM a success. Build with users, not for them. I wanted a Discord community for NotebookLM. People in Google responded, "What's Discord? Why not a Google group?" But I persisted, and now we have 60,000 users giving us invaluable feedback. This is a really good call. You really need to go where the people are. You can't just shove your products and hope that it will work. You really need to go where the people are. Like for this particular thing, they're just getting feedback. It doesn't have to be a Google group. 2, meetings are spent building, not talking about building. We're breaking the mold for how product works at Google. We're focused relentlessly on shipping quickly. It's easier not to ship than to do it, especially at large companies. This is so true. Like, I've always been advocating to move quickly and err on the side of impact rather than just like talking about the work. It's a very common pitfall that happens when your meeting is just full of just meeting. I mean, when your calendar is just full of meetings, it's very easy to just say yes to every meeting. You gotta really like push back on the meeting and then really try to ship things. That's like a career advice thing. Number 3, share information in the concentric circles. I only write when I must. When you're moving fast, things get outdated quickly, and having to keep many documents up to date will just slow us down. This sentence to me is very counterculture to Google. My understanding is Google writes everything down. They have like a very stringent like review process. So the fact that he was able to do this, I think it's very counterculture to Google. And I think that's probably why Notebook LM is succeeding. Sadly, Reza and the core Notebook LM team left Google shortly afterwards. Oh, that's very sad. Of course, there are still many talented people at Google, but I rarely see them engaging with users on X or other platforms. To put it simply, if you're building AI products without talking to users or dogfooding your products every single day, you're probably not going to make it. And this is 100% true. I think AI is very different than anything that we've seen to date. The speed at which AI products get released and innovating, it's just mind-blowing, right? Even like a year ago, like looking at the image generation stuff from Ghibli, uh, from OpenAI, the Ghibli image. The quality there has gone so far from like a year ago. Even like 6 months ago or so, when I think Flux AI came out, which is like the main image model that I use, I thought that was mind blowing. But you know, OpenAI's new image model is really mind. And like they just like totally went with like a different direction, right? Before it was like a diffusion based model, but now it's an auto regression model. I bet you like the open source community is going to be working on a bunch of auto regression models too. So who knows? Like it just moves so quickly and you need to be constantly engaging with your audience. Wrap up. To wrap up this rant, here are some constructive suggestions for Google. Number 1, build in public with users. Listen to and respond to user feedback on social. Number 2, embrace dogfooding. Start using your product to solve your own problems. Number 3, have conviction. Stop hiding behind labs, labels, and decisions by committee. Have a sense of urgency to ship great products to users as quickly as possible. Yesterday's Gemini 2.5 launch was encouraging because Sundar specifically highlighted a desire to move quicker. Gemini 2.5 is here and is our most intelligent AI model ever. Our first 2.5 model, Gemini 2.5 Pro Experimental, is a state-of-the-art thinking model leading in a wide range of benchmarks with impressive improvements, enhanced reasoning and coding, and now #1 in the Llama Arena AI by a significant margin. With the model this intelligent, we wanted to get it to people as quickly as possible. Google has incredible tech and distribution, but even more advanced AI is useless if users can't figure out how to use it. I'm rooting for them to succeed. You know, me too. Well, partially, because I work at Meta. I want us to succeed at the end of the day. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoy this quick read. It was actually a really spicy one. I liked it. I really love Peter's articles because they cut through a lot of the bullshit. And it's straight to the point, and there are usually a lot of gold nuggets in there. Leave me some articles to read if you are interested in me reading your articles or some other articles. Leave me some comments below, and I'll get to them when I can. I hope you guys enjoy this, and I'll see you on the next one.